Hey guys, I'm Joe Garrett from Veevar Guitar. Welcome back to Top of the Chops. So this week's number one is Blinding Lights by The Weeknd again. I did that last week, so if you want to check that out now, you can go do that and then come back to this, or there'll be a link for it at the end of this video. But this week's number two is something I'm really happy about, and it's someone that I've worked with before, and I've just seen this song rise and rise in the charts, and now it's number two, so hopefully it'll get to number one. But it's SAINt JHn, and the song is Roses. Now, it's the Imanbek remix. I hope I'm saying that right. So I know the original song from years ago. I worked with him in 2016, and the song was out before then. So if you want to listen to the original, go check out SAINt JHn on Spotify or whatever you stream music on. But yeah, it's a great tune. It's more of like a rap trap tune, the original. It was quite soulful as well, and you can hear that in the vocal melodies with this remix. Now, the remix is also great. I've done a great job with it. The original was produced by Fallen. So yeah, like I say, go check the original out and then check this one out. There's actually some points in this lesson that I'm going to talk about from the original, just because it would be a shame to leave them out of what we do today. So yeah, let's get into it. So what I'm going to show you today is how to build this song on a loop pedal mainly. Now, with most dance music, it's loop based, so it might just be a bass line on repeat with added elements building the dynamics, or it might just be a chord progression repeated. So obviously it's quite a simple song to do today. There's just a bass line that basically repeats over and over again, and then you've got some chords coming in from the original song. I think they've just taken a sample of the chords from the beginning of the song and then overlaying it in one of the sections, but I'm going to put it in anyway. So I want to kind of build it up as a guitar production really, so there'll be some beat elements in there, and just show you how you can build a really fun backing track for this song really on your loop pedal. So to start off with, I'll lay down the bass line, then a snare using my fingers, and then some percussive stuff with my fingers here as well. You know, that sort of thing, just to build layers basically on the loop. Now, the bass line is really strong throughout the song. It basically just goes all the way through and is the prominent part of the song really, rather than the chords. But the chords do sound really, really nice on top. There's also another section later on in the original where I think it's the chorus section where he does change the chords. So I'm going to lay those over the top of the bass line because they do work over the bass line as well. So the song is in F minor, and the bass line basically runs, I keep saying bass line basically. The bass line is built up from the natural minor scale in F down this end. Obviously you want it down in the low register if you're playing or replicating a bass on your guitar. And I would use my neck pickup as well. So I'll start that first and then layer it up. You'll see a close-up shot of me adding all of the layers, but I really just want to focus on that bass line and the chords just to show you what you're doing with it. So you might be thinking at home, I want to just set up this loop just to experiment and build the song yourself, or you might be a producer that wants to add some guitars to something in this genre, or vice versa. You might be a guitarist that wants to add some production to it. So it's not really production, it's just building everything on the guitar, but it's a good start to get foundations of your own backing track very, very quickly. And as with all the other videos that I've done, I will play the vocal melody as well on top and show you what you can use to improvise. But it's F minor, you can use your F natural minor scale, so you'll just see me using that basically, and some blues and pentatonic again, as always. But because of this chord progression, it is very natural minor, so I would use that scale mainly. Okay, so the bass line. Okay, so pretty groovy. It's very kind of straight, but then you've got some nice syncopation towards the end that keeps the groove going. So you're starting on F down low, and then B flat, and then A flat, and then you're going to play one more before the bar ends, and then to C, and then finally on the B flat, but instead of the straight quavers, you're going to do, so it's like a dotted quaver with a semi-quaver after it. So, there's one last little kind of hit before you restart the beat again. And that basically just loops round and round. Later on in the chorus section, you'll hear a different version of it, but it's basically the same sort of thing, just a slightly different groove. You can probably just watch that and see what I do with it and just kind of copy that groove there. But yeah, basically on top of that, I would lay some chords and obviously like a snare on the 2 and 4, and then some percussive stuff just to almost sound like, yeah, percussion basically, but on your strings, and just replicate different sounds that you can make with your guitar. If you've got an acoustic guitar, then you can do a lot more stuff. You can do like a bass drum if you hit the body. But for electric guitar, you can still, as you'll see with the video, you can still make a pretty good sound, or a pretty good sounding backing track. So the chords on top, you've got an F minor, but I like using this voicing on the 6th fret. So it's as if I was doing this shape, which is like a C minor shape if you're thinking of the Cage system. Check out our syllabus if you've not seen much of the Cage system yet. And then from there, I can quickly literally move up 1 fret to the top end of an B flat minor. And it's really, really quick. In the original, it's like a slow trap tempo, so he's going. And he's just moving that back and forth. But in this version, you have to do it quite quick. So I'm doing a little bit of that as well, where I might do a hammer onto the 8th fret and then arpeggiate downwards with my fingers. Oh yeah, I'm doing all of this with my fingers, by the way, just plucking each string. And you're basically going back and forth between those chords on top. So what I'll do is I'll do the loop, I'll show you the bass line first, chords on top, and then the percussive stuff. And then we can look at the other section of the song. Okay, so hopefully that helped build everything. I'm going to show you now how to play the melody on top, and a lot of it you're just going to have to kind of watch what I'm doing and listen, because vocal melodies are very kind of hard to explain, especially with the phrasing. So a lot of this rap singing that is very popular at the moment is really, really subtle. It might be staying on the same melody and just changing a few notes here and there, but it's so effective over the kind of simplicity of the beats as well. Obviously in this dance tune, they've pitched it up. It's a lot faster, so it's a lot more kind of groovy as it goes along with the beat. But it's just really kind of hard to pin down on the guitar when you're kind of reading the notes. If you wrote it down, it would look very, very differently phrased to how you might see. It's like a guitar solo. If you see like a guitar solo tabbed out, a lot of the rhythms will be quite difficult to follow. They're not as straight as like that bass line I played, for example. Okay, so what I'll probably do is just show you the scale that I'm using, which is F minor, and I'm kind of based around this shape 4. But I do slide down and I do slide up as well. I basically do a lot of it just on this B string. So when you watch the close-up of me playing it with the whole loop behind it, you'll be able to follow it a bit easier. But yeah, I'm doing a lot of this sort of... It's literally just like that. 1 and 2 and... And then a lot of kind of sliding up as well to the 13th fret. And a lot of the phrasing that I do is to try and replicate the vocal as much as I possibly can in the dynamics. So where I did that 9, 11, 13. So I would hammer on to the 11 from the 9, but quickly slide it to the 13. Okay, so have a look again at a close-up, but this time I'm going to be playing that lead melody on top, and I'll carry it on with some improvising as well in lots of different shapes in F minor. Okay, so the final thing I want to show you is basically when the chords change. Now this only happens in the original, I think, and it's really, really effective when it changes into a different section. The melody changes as well, which really goes with this chord progression, so I thought it'd be a shame to leave it out. Now, what I'll do this time is on the close-up, I'll show the chords first, just so that you can hear them on their own. And then I will show you the bass line on top, so coming in over the top of it. Now the bass line, I think I said earlier, does change the rhythm, but the notes are all the same. It's just a different sort of rhythm to fit with these new chords. They probably would have fit with the other chords as well, but new section, you know, the producer obviously did it for a reason, and it sounds really, really cool. So again, the melody changed. I'll show you a bit of the other melody as well, but the chords are the really important part. Okay, so the chord progression starts with a B flat minor. Now I do this kind of on the top half of the guitar, and I arpeggiate this section a lot as well, just for a different effect basically. Now, the reason I do the high end of these arpeggios is because there's a lot of bass anyway in the kick drum, in the bass line. I don't want to muddy it up with any low E or A strings. I'd rather just take the top part of the chord. So we do B flat minor up here, and then the top half of D flat major, and then we go to a F minor, and this one I just do the full bar chord from the A string, and then A flat major. Then we start again, it's just got a slightly different ending. Okay, so that chord progression runs exactly how I played it there. The bass line runs underneath it in the same sort of measures, but obviously, like I said earlier, a different sort of rhythm. So you can hear from that it becomes a lot more melodic, that section, rather than just the those two chords there. So the key, F minor, all of those chords spell that out, and obviously the first two chords in the verse sections, and then the bass line is literally playing an F minor. So, you know, there's nothing kind of odd about this song. It's all nice and diatonic. Okay, so the melody on the top of that is slightly different as well. Again, you're going to want to just watch the close-up shots of me playing it over the top of the chords just to get the phrasing and everything right. But yeah, it's very kind of... You know, it's so like specific to a vocal melody that it's hard for me to play it now without the backing track on. But yeah, it's using kind of the top half of that scale now more, and I'm still in that sort of area, the shape 4 in F. Now that sort of stuff, sliding back up to that 13 again, just because sometimes I want to slide up. It might sound like in his voice he's rising to the note, so rather than going, you know, going back up there, I'll just slide up to it. Okay, so I think in terms of parts, that's everything. Obviously, if you're going to play it as like an acoustic cover, then all you need to know is the chords and just kind of go between those. Obviously, playing a bass line and singing over the top of it is cool, but difficult. A lot of the time, if you've got an acoustic guitar, you just want to play those chords underneath. But if you just want to jam it and build up the production and kind of play some parts that you might eventually come back to in your own productions and things like that, then I find that the best way to do it. You know, put a loop down, create your backing tracks. You don't have to go on your computer and do this. You just literally have to jam, and it's so easy to do. So I would do that with this song, give it a go, and hopefully you nail it and really enjoy playing it. Thanks so much to those of you that have been watching this series so far. I've only done 3 of them at the moment, so the fact that people are actually watching them is amazing, and I really hope this just builds and builds and builds. Like I've always said, I'm going to do these every single week. I'm actually off to Sweden tomorrow to do some songwriting sessions, hence why I'm in the dark. I wanted to get this wrapped up so I can get it edited and out to you guys for Monday. So watch out for next week's one as well. Hit the subscribe button, the bell icon, and I'll see you next week.